Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing very well. So the 80th Golden Globes Awards were last night, and as is tradition here on my channel, we are going to be diving into my thoughts, feelings, reactions to the ceremony itself, as well as the winners and losers of the night. This is going to be an interesting one. Okay, you do not want to miss my reaction to especially the ceremony itself, because I have some thoughts. I have some notes. I can't wait to dive into this year's Golden Globes. But before we get into all of that juicy stuff, as per usual, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and make sure you turn on your notifications so that you can be told when I upload next. So now, without further ado, let's dive right into my thoughts on the Golden Globes ceremony itself. So first thing that you should know is that I wasn't able to watch the entire ceremony. I'm here in the UK and it started at 1 AM, so there was no way I was going to stay up all night, okay, all morning, okay, watching the Golden Globes ceremony. Please. Having said that though, I did stay up way too late following it on Twitter and trying to access it in various different ways, shall we say. So I did manage to get glimpses, okay, some decent glimpses of the ceremony itself through various live streams. So I am going to be able to comment on what I saw, but just keep in mind that I didn't watch the whole thing from start to finish, and thankfully so, because I just was not impressed with the bits that I saw anyway. But before we dive into the show itself, I would be remiss if I did not mention that this is of course the first live show since the Golden Globes scandal from a couple of years back, which meant that we didn't even get a live show for the 79th Golden Globes last year. So this is a pretty big deal, and people were wondering if celebrities were even going to show up. You know, what would the show look like? It turns out that the answer to that question was, this is pretty much business as usual. Yes, the celebrities absolutely showed up, barring a few exceptions who, you know, perhaps were working on projects at the time. So yeah, it was pretty much business as usual. The celebrities absolutely showed up to collect their shiny gold statues. Like, what were we expecting? Okay, you know, these people are all talk and no action at the end of the day, which is something that we'll dive into later. Don't even worry about it when we go through some of the jokes, okay, some of the scandalous things that were said during the ceremony. In terms of the scandals surrounding the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, they still have very much tainted the organization, and there was certain comments about that throughout the night. But I think Hollywood overall just wants to get back to business as usual as soon as possible. They want to put it behind them, and so they're willing to accept all of the half-hearted measures that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association have put in place, all in the name of getting back to business as usual. Now, one annoying side effect of the scandals surrounding the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, particularly those that pertain to the racism and the exclusivity of the voting board, although let's not forget the other scandals surrounding the bribery allegations, okay, but you know, one side effect of that was that whenever there were, you know, people of color winning awards last night, we did get, unfortunately, a bunch of comments from people claiming that they were just diversity wins, which sucks, because these people actually deserve to be recognized. They deserved their wins, but because of everything that's going on in the world in general, but in particular with these scandals, it feels like the Hollywood Foreign Press Association is trying to make up for that by awarding these individuals and these talents, which I think is a huge shame. But I'm not going to take it in that way. I'm not going to look at it like that. I think that the POC talent who won last night were absolutely deserving of their awards, and it's up to the Hollywood Foreign Press Association to clear up their act, okay, and actually enforce changes, institutional changes, to ensure that the Golden Globes actually means something, so that those who are holding those awards can actually progress in their careers and benefit from that prestigiousness. So now let's get on to the show itself. And speaking of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association trying to make up for the years of racism, okay, or the years of excluding black people, okay, in particular, let's not forget, they decided to go ahead and hire Jerrod Carmichael as the host for the 80th ceremony. Now, I'm not really familiar with Jerrod Carmichael's work. I believe he has a HBO show, but I haven't watched it personally. I was only introduced to him through his episode on SNL, where he hosted, and I watched the episode on YouTube. I watched the episode on YouTube, like all of the sketches and everything, and I thought he was pretty good. So I was looking forward to seeing what he would bring to the table for this ceremony. But I have to say, you know, through the glimpses that I saw, like I said, through these dodgy live streams, I just did not see anything remarkable there. So I think it was a bit of a flop, honestly, and I hate to say it because I think he's like the first black host, so you know that I would be the first one to be like, he was amazing, he was brilliant, hire him again. But I can't lie to you guys. I always say here on my channel that the first and foremost thing that I'm a fan of is good quality content, and that absolutely extends to awards ceremonies, and this just was not it. I felt like his jokes were a little bit flat. I felt like he lacked the persona. He lacked the stage presence in order to carry the entire ceremony, which, to be fair, I mean, it's full of these huge stars in the audience, right? I mean, it must be such a high pressure situation to be in, but I think he needed to drop that and just realize that he needed to manage the stage. He needed to own that stage so that he could draw in not only the amazing audience, the impressive audience, but also all of us around the world who are watching, because this is a global event. People were tweeting from Asia, from South America, because Hollywood is known for delivering a show. Hollywood is the biggest show business in the world, I think second to Bollywood maybe, but in terms of international recognition, there's nothing quite like this industry. And so to have the second most important night in Hollywood be hosted by such a dead and kind of lackluster act, I think is unforgivable. And to label him as like the first black host of the Golden Globes, I think is a shame, because I know that there are a bunch of black people, talented black people, who could have done an incredible job with this role, and unfortunately Jerrod Carmichael just did not deliver in that front. I mean, he had some zingers here and there. He made some interesting jokes about race and some interesting jokes about Scientology and like a missing person. You know, that was cute, that was fun, but it's not like Golden Globes worthy. Now, this ties into a wider topic that I want to cover in my upcoming video surrounding the Oscars and the awards season in general, where I feel like there are so many issues with awards ceremonies that we really need to unpack this. But in terms of this video, yeah, that was the main issue that I had with Jerrod Carmichael. I didn't find his jokes to be particularly funny. I thought his stage presence was lacking. There was a point where, I think it was during the opening monologue, he was literally walking up and down the stage like a caged animal. It was so bizarre. Okay, and listen, I hate to make comparisons, but if we think back to Ricky Gervais and his whole shtick where he was making fun of people in Hollywood, and the only thing that he had to do was stand there. He was standing still at the podium, which, by the way, they should have a podium. Why do they only have a mic stick anyway? Why do they only have a mic stand as part of the podium? People were trying to figure out what to do with their awards, and like Jennifer Coolidge was putting it on the floor. Like, there needs to be a podium anyway. Ricky Gervais had his whole shtick with his beer, you know, and that just that glass of beer was enough of a prop to allow him to command the entire audience. Jerrod Carmichael needed that. He needed a persona, a powerful enough persona to really drive this whole performance, you know, for the ceremony. And unfortunately, he didn't. And you could say like, oh, it's not what he typically does. He's just a stand-up comedian. Well, Ricky Gervais was also a stand-up comedian. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, a lot of these comedians have done stand-up, but they know that they need to elevate their game when they're invited to host a huge event like the Golden Globes still is. Well, the second thing that I wanted to touch on when it came to Jerrod Carmichael's bits were the race-related jokes. Now, I'm going to expand on this, I think, in my upcoming Oscars video that I hopefully do in a couple of months. But my overall thoughts when it comes to race-related jokes during these ceremonies is that I'm over them. Yeah, that's right. I'm over them. This is me. This is still Jean. Okay, this is still Jean. I'm black as ever. Okay, I'm black as I have ever been, but I'm over these race-related jokes, and it's not for the reason that you think. I know people on Twitter were like, oh, why'd you have to bring race into it? Race is relevant, okay, but I just am so sick and tired of the smoke show that the race discussion is in these ceremonies. I'm sick of it. People were posting this video of Eddie Murphy, who 30 years back was presenting an award during the Oscars, and he made similar remarks about how the Academy was not recognizing black talent, okay, and black driven projects for their awards. This was like about 30 plus years ago. Eddie Murphy was making these remarks. He looked so young. Okay, he looked like a little kid, and he was standing up there in front of the whole of the Academy and all of those celebrities, and he was saying these things. And now we fast forward over to today, where Jerrod Carmichael is making these snide remarks again, and I am just freaking exhausted. Eddie Murphy, in his little speech, which I'm sure you can find on Twitter because he's like trending, he said that, you know, Hollywood had this cycle of rewarding black people every 20 years. And sure enough, you know, the next time that a black person actually won an Academy Award was in 2004, and it was Halle Berry. So literally, like, his 20-year cycle joke ended up being right for that period. So like, Hollywood knows this. They know they have a problem. They've been knowing that they had a problem, and that's what frustrates me about these jokes. I can't laugh, I can't chuckle, I can't giggle, okay, I can't guffaw, because I'm just like, you guys are the problem. Why am I gonna laugh with you when you are the ones who have the power to fix this? We're not all talking from the same level. It's not funny when I'm talking to the people who have caused this problem to be perpetuated for the last few decades in this industry. They aren't in on the joke. They are the joke. So like, I personally am sick and tired of these meaningless, purposeless jokes, okay, surrounding racism and, you know, other forms of discrimination in that industry. What I want to see is actual change. What I want to see, okay, is these institutions actually changing the way that they work, okay, recognizing more POC talent, and then I'll be smiling. I won't be chuckling, but I'll definitely be smiling ear to ear because I'll be happy to see it. But these like weak-ass, purposeless, pointless jokes about like, oh, Hollywood's so racist, get rid of them, because it just pulls the mood down. It creates this like awkward atmosphere because they all know that they're complicit in this issue, and at the end of the day, it doesn't create any palpable change in the industry. All the change that happens in this industry is behind the scenes. It has nothing to do with the gags that they could do on the stage during these awards ceremonies. So let these folk just enjoy the limelight, okay, enjoy the night where they get to celebrate the industry and celebrate themselves. Let them have that, because I'm sick and tired of having to sit there and have, you know, the host half-heartedly comment on a very serious issue that impacts millions of people's lives, only for it to lead to nowhere. Okay. Ooh, I definitely had that on my spirit for a very long time. So thank you for humoring me, okay? But I just needed to say it because I'm just tired, guys. I'm really sick and tired of it. Like, I used to just like chuckle along and like, but now I'm like, no. I'm sitting there stone face. Stone, like, I'm not taking this seriously anymore, okay? But the next issue that I wanted to discuss were the ads. Now, here's the thing. You might be wondering, gee, you're in the UK. How do you know how many ads there were during the ceremony? And like I said, I tried to access the ceremony through various means. We won't go any further. And I have to say that I did experience what a lot of people commented on Twitter, which was the abundance of ads. It was like off-putting, you know, like honestly, I was trying to watch it in like bunches before it got too late. And like 70% of the footage was just like ads. I was like, I watch the Oscars legitimately. I watch the Oscars every year, and I'm telling you, the ads on the Oscars are not to that level. Now, I do have a theory about this. Now, this is apropos of nothing. I don't have any inside information. I'm not really familiar with how this works, but my theory is that perhaps due to the scandals, okay, the salaciousness surrounding the Hollywood Foreign Press Association and therefore the consequent tainted image of the Golden Globes, the ad revenue was at risk this year maybe. And so, you know, these television broadcasters, they have to sell ads to advertisers for a certain price, and usually during a award ceremony the ads would be really expensive, just like, you know, during the NFL playoff whatever, or NBA whatever. Like during the big events that they expect millions of people to tune in for, the ad prices shoot way up. But I'm theorizing that maybe that was less the case this year for the Golden Globes, and perhaps that's why NBC decided to sell off more ads than usual in order to make up for that loss. This is just a theory, but if you guys have any insider information into this aspect of the industry, then I would love to be educated on the matter. But overall, I think that is the reason why we got so many ads in the American broadcast for the Golden Globes last night, to the point where it became an unpleasant experience to watch. And finally, before we get into the actual winners and losers of the night, I did just quickly want to say that I thought the presenters, you know, the celebrity presenters for each of the awards also needed to step up their game. What happened to the good old days when they had like solid scripts for these presenters, and like you could actually have a bit of a joke, a bit of a gag, and like it felt like a bit more of a natural kind of performance for the ceremony? Like what happened? The show overall just felt like it hadn't gone through rehearsal enough times. Like it was so bizarre. A lot of the celebrities seemed lost with their scripts, and a lot of them felt a little bit awkward and meandering, and it felt like some presenters got way more time than the actual winners of the awards. So the winners were kind of ushered out really quickly, and the music was played over their speeches to kind of get them off the stage. Like, it just felt like chaos. Like, are we professionals or not? You're celebrating the 80th Golden Globes. You think by the time you hit 80 you know what you're doing, but it seems to just get worse and worse each year on the years that it's actually broadcasted on television. Okay, so now it's time to dive into the winners and losers of the night. And as you can see, guys, I have a massive smile on my face because I got what I wanted. For the first time in how many years that I've been watching these awards, I'm finally sitting here mostly happy with the results of the ceremony. And I have to tell you guys, before the ceremony took place, I promise you I did this before, I actually filled out the Rotten Tomatoes ballots for the Golden Globes, where I put down my final predictions for who would win on the night, and I'll put them on the screen now. Like I said, I did this before, okay, that the actual ceremony aired, so I promise you these are authentic results. I wish I had thought to like post it on my YouTube page so that you guys could see it, but overall I ended up with 20 out of the 27 categories being correct. So I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a pat on the back, because that is some pretty good guessing, some pretty good predicting right there. Now that's not to say that I am happy with each of the wins that I put down on the ballot. There are some that I just, you know, put down there because I predicted that they would win, but not necessarily that I wanted them to win. We'll talk about it in a second. But yeah, I just wanted to give myself a pat on the back for the accuracy, because I think I did a pretty good job predicting this night. Now, speaking of the categories, let's go through the winners of the night, shall we? And the first category up on my list is Best Actor in a Drama, which ended up going to Austin Butler for Elvis. First of all, I'm still shocked that Elvis was under the drama category instead of the musical category. To me, that doesn't quite make sense, but I think it worked in his favor, because I don't think he would have gone up against Colin Farrell particularly well. But because he was in this category, he ended up rising to the top and getting the Golden Globe in the end, which is fine. You know, my thoughts on Elvis as a film are a bit mixed, especially considering the subject matter, but I do think that Austin Butler gave a really great performance, so there's that. But speaking of his performance, I, much like many people on the internet, do think that he's still putting up a performance, which is interesting. I do take umbrage with his voice. I do take umbrage with his voice. I remember watching him on like the Carrie Diaries like 10 years ago, and his voice wasn't quite that deep. I do think he's doing something with it to come across as a more esteemed, you know, world-weary, serious actor, and it just feels a bit obvious to me. Like it feels disingenuous, actually. So I don't know if I'm sold on Austin Butler. I'm sorry. He just comes across as really fake and put on to me. But you know, congrats to him. He took home the Golden Globe last night. And then on the flip side of things, we have Best Lead Actress in a Drama. And this is where the problems started to arise. This is where the problems started, guys. They gave it to Cate Blanchett, and if you've watched my previous Golden Globe coverage of the film nominations, you know how much this is killing me. You know how much this is killing me. Why did this not go to Viola Davis? Why? They just want the same thing over and over again. This is like Frances McDormand last year. Like, what's the difference here? I hate this because it's just more of the same old crap that the Hollywood elites always do, and I'm just like sick and tired of it. I don't know how someone can watch The Woman King and watch Tar and say, yeah, Cate Blanchett gave a better performance. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Oh, whatever. I am so deeply upset. Oh God, it just makes no damn sense. Anyway, Cate Blanchett took it home. She wasn't even there, so whatever. The next one up that we've got is Best Supporting Actress overall, and that went to Auntie Angela Bassett. Of course it did! Of course it did. Angela Bassett became the first actor in the MCU to win a major award, and it couldn't have gone to anyone more deserving. I was so happy with that. I think she looked incredible. I think her speech was meaningful, and I think she absolutely killed it in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I know that not everyone loves this film as much as I do, but I adore this film, and I was absolutely blown away by Angela Bassett's performance here. She really stepped it up in comparison to the first movie, and she was just regal and powerful and emotional. Just brilliant performance all around, highly deserving. And then next one up, we have Best Supporting Actor, which went to Ke Huy Quan. Yes, another huge win. Another huge win. So happy to see that he won, and his speech was also very touching. I'm just so happy to see him come back in the industry in such a huge way, and I'm predicting that he will likely win Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars as well, which would be fantastic. And when it comes to Best Motion Picture Drama, the winner here was The Fabelmans, and this is where we get into old classic Hollywood nonsense, like old classic Hollywood BS. I have in fact watched The Fabelmans. I couldn't even get through it. Like I have like 15 minutes left on that film that I need to watch. I just found it so boring. So boring. It felt like the kind of film that would come out in like the 90s or early 2000s. Like it felt very retro, and not just because it was set in a different time period, but because of the filmmaking itself. Overall, I wasn't touched by this film. I know that some people have said, you know, if you are an aspiring filmmaker, you'll really connect to the film personally. That's not me. I'm not in that category. So I was just like, oh, when is this gonna end? Honestly, I think the Golden Globes really missed a trick here. I would have preferred any of the other films in this category to win, even Tar. I would have preferred Tar to win, even though I keep dragging Cate Blanchett, but I would have preferred that to win over The Fabelmans. It's just such a dead film. And of course, we also saw Steven Spielberg win the Best Director award, and like, fine, whatever, because he's telling his life story and blah blah blah, and it's a film about Hollywood and blah blah blah. Whatever. Just let them have it, I guess. And then next up, we have Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy, and this of course went to Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin, who I predict will likely end up with the Oscar for Best Actor in the end, because the Oscars aren't split between comedy, musical and drama. So I definitely think Colin Farrell is rising up against Austin Butler. So yeah, I'm happy to see it. I think he was great. His whole speech about how he loved blonde, was weird to me. Like, I know Ana de Armas was the one who presented him the award, but I was like, sir, you only have like 8.9 seconds. You want to use all of that time up on just praising Blonde, like a film that no one likes? That's a weird choice, but okay. Otherwise, I do think that he's very deserving of the award. I have seen Banshees of Inisherin since I filmed my Golden Globes video. I think it was since then, and I really enjoyed the film, as you all know if you've watched my best movies of the year video. And next up, for best actress in a comedy or musical, we had Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I don't know what to tell you. For me, it has always been between Michelle Yeoh and Viola Davis. Those are my top 2 picks for best performances of the year, hands down, no questions asked. So I was really happy to see Michelle Yeoh take it home last night. I thought her speech was really funny when she like cut off the piano player. She was like, why are you trying to play me out? I can beat you up. She's like, shut up, please. Love that. Okay, the music kept playing over people and it just felt so rushed. Like, it just wasn't an enjoyable ceremony. But anyways, Michelle Yeoh was absolutely fantastic in this film, so I was really happy with that outcome. And then we have the award for best motion picture, musical or comedy. And this is yet another example of the Golden Globes just smoking crack, because the winner the winner ended up being the Banshees of Inisherin. No. No, baby, no. You missed the spot there. You must have accidentally ticked Banshees instead of Everything Everywhere All at Once, sir. That was just like baffling. I don't know what sense that made. Here's the thing, right? Either you give the award for screenplay to Banshees and give best motion picture to Everything Everywhere All at Once, or vice versa. You don't do neither. You don't do neither. Like, that's literally what they did. They gave both awards to Banshees. And to me, it would make more sense, you know, as you've seen my ballot, you know, that's how I voted. It would make more sense if they gave screenplay to Banshees of Inisherin and best picture to Everything Everywhere. Like, the fact that they gave both to Banshees makes no goddamn sense to me. But it's the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, so maybe they favoured, you know, this Irish film over another American one. But this American film is like, it's different, it's unique, and the talent involved is whatever. Who am I trying to convince? I'm preaching to the choir here. And lastly, in the film categories, we have Best Animated Feature, which went to Pinocchio. And I think that is wholly deserving. Absolutely, that makes all the sense in the world to me. I was rooting for Pinocchio to win. If you checked out the Genie Awards, you'll know that this isn't the first prestigious award that Pinocchio has won. Okay, so yeah, I was really happy with that decision. Also, that's not something that I covered previously, but the foreign language film ended up going to Argentina, and that's great. I haven't watched any of the foreign language films except RRR, which, yes, I did check out on Netflix a couple of weeks back, and I had a fun time with it, but it's not one of my favorite films of the year. Spoiler alert for my best movies of the year video. But I just felt like it was a little bit too much for me personally. I'm not used to Bollywood films. It was in fact my first Bollywood film that I've ever watched, so that, you know, shows my miseducation on the matter. But yeah, to me it was just a little bit too much of everything, and it just felt overstuffed, and by the end I was just, you know, ready to turn it off, I'm afraid. So it wasn't for me personally, but I was really happy to see that it ended up winning Best Song for Natu Natu. I think that's wonderful. It's the first Indian song to win in that category, so that's amazing. And I thought that his speech, the songwriter's speech, was really inspiring as well. This is an important moment for Bollywood, getting that recognition from Hollywood. I really love this movement towards, you know, being more global and international that Hollywood has shown over the few years, and I hope to see that progress even further, perhaps even extend to the African continent one day, who knows. But in the meantime, I'm very, very happy for RRR. Okay, so now it's time to dive into the TV show categories. I think I got a few more surprises than I had expected in these categories. I think I was able to predict the film ones better, ironically, because I had had seen barely any of the films at the time that I had recorded my video. But yeah, I managed to guess the film ones a little bit more accurately than the TV show ones. So here, first of all, we have Best Actress in a TV Series Drama, and the award ended up going to Zendaya. I think I predicted this because she won the Emmy as well, and I definitely wrote it on my ballot. Do I say this today? No, I'm going to save this opinion for another. It depends on how angry I want people to be with me. I've already said a lot. Okay, I'm just going to whisper it here in this video. I think Zendaya is a little bit overrated. I don't think she deserved this award. Don't hate me. I would have given this to Emma Darcy. Sorry. I would have given this to Emma Darcy. I thought they were incredible in House of the Dragon. Are you joking? Now, to be fair, I don't watch Euphoria and I probably never will. But the fact that Emma Darcy didn't get this is just like kind of pitiful to me, kind of shameful. But yeah, Zendaya, you know, snatched this award and she wasn't even there to accept it, so, you know, whatever. But Emma Darcy looked incredible last night, so who's the real winner here? I think it's them. I think it's them. I think they won. In my heart, they did at least. And next up, we have Best Actor in a TV Drama. I didn't really have any skin in the game for this category, so I thought it would likely go to Bob Odenkirk because the Better Call Saul folk are persistent, okay? Okay, they are determined to give this man his flowers, or at least they were, until unfortunately he didn't end up going home with the award, and instead it was Kevin Costner for Yellowstone, which is really, really popular. I haven't watched it myself, but I'm not wholly surprised that he took it home, because he's like a legacy actor as well. He has that movie star name. He's one in a long line of movie stars that have turned to streaming to continue on their careers in their twilight years, and he's been very successful at that. So I'm not wholly surprised by this, but I do wish it had gone to Bob Odenkirk because it was the final season of Better Call Saul and fans just adore that show. So yeah, this could have been the recognition that it deserved. Next up, we have Best Supporting Actress in a TV Series, and the winner here was Julia Garner for Ozark. That was a shock. That was a genuine shock to me. I thought Elizabeth Debicki was a shoo-in for this category for her portrayal as a Princess Diana in season 5 of The Crown. But I think The Crown lost quite a bit of momentum because, you know, it didn't have the best reception for season 5. But I still think that Elizabeth Debicki was one of the best parts of that season. So it's a shame that she didn't get recognized for her work here because so many other The Crown actresses have been able to. Julia Garner, you know, she's already gotten, I think she's already gotten an Emmy, but I don't know if she's gotten a Golden Globe yet, so maybe this is her first one. To be fair, she's always done a fantastic job, so if she hasn't yet won a Golden Globe for her work in Ozark, then she absolutely deserved it because it was the final season of the show last year. And then next up, we have Best Supporting Actor in a TV Series, and when I tell you I got up, when I tell you I got up in my chair, I was like, this is it. I love to win. Guys, it ended up going to Tyler James Williams. I was shook. In my video, I said I wanted it to go to him, but I thought I was taking a punt. I thought I was, you know, talking crazy, like I was in an ideal world where, you know, I got everything I wanted out of the Golden Globes, but no. It actually went to him. I was so happy, but then I got a bit scared because I was like, uh-oh, what if they gave him the award, you know, to represent the whole of Abbott Elementary overall? Like, what if that's the only award that it gets for the night, right? Like, I was like, oh no, what if it's a trap? Like, what? I started overthinking, but then Abbott Elementary ended up walking away with several awards, so that was great. But I was so happy for Tyler James Williams because he is great on the show. He's so funny. He's a different kind of funny. He's more of a straight man, but the looks that he gives to the camera and the character himself is just so great and unique. And so I was really happy to see him win, as was Eddie Murphy, who gave the guy a whole standing ovation. I was like, what? That was amazing. Eddie Murphy himself was amazing last night. He got his Cecil B award, which was wholly deserving. Please, it's Eddie Murphy. Like, come on now. How has he not already been rewarded? I think Tyler James Williams winning was just Such a triumph for me. And then we get to the big one. We get to Best TV Series Drama, and the award ended up going home to House of the Dragon. Yup. Yup. This is it. This is right. This is correct. I know some people are upset about Better Call Saul, and I feel bad for you guys. I'm sorry. But House of the Dragon is it. It's the one. It's the one, okay? I don't even know what else to say. The first ever episode of this show, the pilot episode, single-handedly brought back the Game of Thrones franchise. Like literally on its own, just from the pilot, and it was all the way up from there. So I'm very happy to see House of the Dragon take it home. Now we're getting into the musical comedy categories, and as I mentioned, Abbott Elementary dominated in this field. We had Quinta Brunson taking it home for Best Actress in a comedy or musical series, and I thought that was wholly deserving. I was a little bit nervous for a second there because Jenna Ortega had swept in there in the last minute with her incredible performance as Wednesday Addams in Wednesday, but ultimately the award did go to Quinta Brunson, and I think she absolutely deserves it. Keep in mind, like, this is 2 seasons of Abbott Elementary versus 1 single season of Wednesday. Maybe that also makes a difference, but also she's like the creator of the show. Like, her involvement is so much more than what Jenna Ortega does on Wednesday, so I think they were rewarding her for that as well. And also the show's subject matter, like, it's just so special and light-hearted, and the show overall is better than Wednesday the series. So I think she absolutely deserved this award, and it broke my heart to see so many people say this was a diversity win. Sis won the Emmy. She won the Emmy. Maybe Jenna Ortega will win the Emmy next year, but let's not take away her successes. Let's not act like this came out of nowhere. She's been winning these awards. Like, Jenna Ortega was the dark horse in this situation, not Quinta Brunson. Let's not get it twisted. And since we're already talking about Abbott Elementary, we can go ahead and skip a category here because it did end up winning Best TV Series Comedy or Musical, which, like I said, I was really, really happy to see. Now, going back for a second here, we have Best Actor in a TV Series, Musical or Comedy going to Jeremy Allen White. Wow, I was so happy. I think I thought initially that it may go to Bill Hader, but then on my ballot I wrote down Jeremy, but I was a little bit skeptical about that one, so I think I have a question mark next to Bill Hader still. But I recently rewatched The Bear. Literally, it was the easiest binge of my life. Like, I was literally just sitting down and all of a sudden I'd gone through all 6 or 8 episodes of The Bear. It's such a good show, and Jeremy Allen White is spectacular on the show, so I was so happy to see him win. Like, I just love it when I win. I just love it when I'm right and I win, guys. Like, honestly, last night was pretty good. Apart from a few little hiccups, okay, a few little upsets, last night was a really, really good night for me. Okay, so then we move on to the limited series, where we had Jennifer Coolidge win for Best Supporting Actress. Fine. I did end up watching the latest season of White Lotus, by the way, over the Christmas period, and I thought it was pretty good. I actually think it was better than season 1 for me, and I do think that Jennifer Coolidge was, you know, pretty good, but she kind of has like that one shtick that she does, to be fair. So I don't know if I would have chosen her over some of the other actresses on that list, but you know, she's a personality. She's the moment. So, you know, and that line that she had about the gays trying to kill her, that's kind of iconic. That's kind of iconic. So fine, you know, give her the award. Why not? And then we had Best Supporting Actor in a Limited Series going to Paul Walter Hauser. What did I tell you? I'm telling you, what did I say? Paul Walter Hauser in Blackbird is next level. If you were confused about his win last night, you haven't watched Blackbird. Simple as. Like, there's truly no confusion to be had if you've watched the show. And then we get into the Best Actress category, where we had Amanda Seyfried win the award. I thought that was relatively predictable. She had the hype from early on in the year, and I'm glad to see that it carried through to the rest of the year, because her performance was really, really great in Dropouts. And then for Best Actor in a Limited Series, we had Evan Peters take home the Golden Globe, and I was really happy for the guy. I was mostly happy because he's such a hard-working actor and he delivers incredible performances time and time again, and they largely go unrecognized apart from his work in Mayor of Easttown. So that's why I was happy about his win. But I haven't watched Dharma. I refuse to watch that show or support it in any way, and I don't agree with it. So I wasn't really celebrating the fact that he won for Dharma, more that he won at all, considering how great and talented an actor that he is. So I was really happy for him on that front. And finally, we had Best Limited Series overall, which ended up going to White Lotus Sicily. Now, I mean, White Lotus is not a limited series. It really isn't. Like, it's just a regular drama, but I guess HBO doesn't want to submit it in that category because otherwise it would have to go up against its own House of the Dragon. So they've managed to finesse it. I mean, you know, some things change, some things stay the same with the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, right? So yeah, it ended up winning in this category. So HBO got two major wins of the night. And we also had a win for Disney with ABC's Abbott Elementary sweeping the comedy categories. So I think there was a nice balance there. Overall, I would say that I was pretty happy with the results of the Golden Globes of 2023, which is very rare for me to say. But yeah, I'm leaving here with a smile on my face, guys. Like, I got pretty much all that I wanted. And also there were some additional bits, like Eddie Murphy getting rewarded for his amazing work and legacy in Hollywood. And of course, you had the same thing for Ryan Murphy. So the Murphy twins, the Murphy brothers both got awarded last night, and it was a great achievement for, you know, diversity, you know, ticking all those boxes, right? I mean, you have this incredible black actor, comedian, legend getting an award, and Ryan Murphy, who has done so much to propel representation of the LGBTQ community, and also his touching speech at the beginning where he gave all that praise to MJ Rodriguez for her win last year. That wasn't really celebrated as much because it wasn't aired on TV. All of that was just really great, and it did very much show that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association is trying to make up for the ills of the past. This first test has been passed, kind of. I'd give it an A-B+, simply because they didn't give Viola Davis the award for Best Actress. If they had done that, it would have been A+. Easily A+, but they didn't. They gave it to Cate Blanchett, so like, But make no mistake, the real test here, guys, is what comes after. The real test is what they do for the next few years. You know, what are the 90th Golden Globes going to look like in about 10 years' time? That is the true test of the changes that they have implemented in the institution. So we shall see if this new version of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association lasts. But that's it from me, guys. Now that I told you guys my thoughts on the 80th Golden Globes Awards, it's time for you guys to let me know what you thought of this ceremony and the winners and losers down in the comments below. Please be sure to subscribe to catch new videos coming up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.